Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened around Ukraine in the last 24 hours. Night attack on Kyiv. Madonna calls for peace. Cancer backpack. New type of forces. Crimea is preparing for defense. Yalta. I had a hard time bringing myself to sit down and write the text for this video because I barely got 3 hours of sleep last night due to the overnight Russian attack on Kyiv, which also took place during a loud thunderstorm, such as surrealism. Hey, what do you think it was? A thunderstorm or air defense? Thunderstorm? Wrong. It was the Kinjal missile that was shot down by the Patriot system. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, not far from me, air defense shot down a hypersonic missile and it was loud. And then mobile brigades with machine guns shot down Russian attack drones. In total, 29 out of 30 were shot down overnight. One Iskander ballistic missile hit somewhere in Odessa. This is what the trajectory of the night attack looked like. As you can see, the missiles were mainly flying from the northeast, and the trajectory of the super-fast Kinjal was almost in straight line, and the X-101 was maneuvering to deceive our air defense. I have an interesting insight from a person I cannot name. According to reports, yesterday only about 25% of these $30 million X-101 missiles were able to fly and 75% failed. As was said, this is literally the result of sanctions on the Russian industry. The statistics on drones are very encouraging. As you can see, this is 100% shot down. I dream that we will shoot down all missiles like we shoot down drones. I dream that we will no longer need to shoot down any missiles or drones at night. At that moment, when most of Kyiv was in shelters, some idiot decided that this was the best time to set off fireworks. Yes, in the third year of war, there are still a couple of weak-minded people who think this is hilarious. I hope the police will find them and they get severe punishment. This is such a stupid joke. Madonna released a touching video dedicated to children who suffer from war in different countries of the world. It is written like this: wherever there is a conflict, children suffer. Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, Yemen, Syria, Nigeria, Congo, Malawi. The list goes on, and we may not agree on much, but I pray that we can all agree that our children need to be protected. On June 15th, world leaders will gather in Switzerland for the Global Peace Summit focused on the end of the war in Ukraine and the return of more than 19,000 Ukrainian children who were torn from their families and deported to Russia. This is actually an important statement because many people may still think that this is an exaggeration that Russia is stealing Ukrainian children. Doesn't it sound strange? Why would a huge country steal children from a smaller country next door? But let me remind you that Putin and his ombudsman, Maria Lvova-Belova, have international arrest warrants primarily due to the deportation of Ukrainian children. As I understand it, everything else will be needed to be proven after the end of the war, and this is a confirmed data at the moment. I will leave a link to the official statement below the video. It's strange to say I'm glad in this context, but I'm glad that Madonna, a world legend, is speaking out loud about our problem. This video calls on people to support participation in International Peace Summit that Ukraine is gathering in Switzerland in 3 days. I really want to see the unity of the countries in supporting the world and our country in particular. This is not a question of de-escalation, how not to anger Putin with the whole world, but rather a question of what needs to be done to finish the war on a fair note. For 2 years you gave us a shield that saved many lives. Give us the sword to save everyone else while we still can. Link to full video is below this video. I found this video of a Russian soldier running with a huge electronic warfare dome device on his back and an anti-drone rifle in his hands. Communication specialists have already called it a cancer backpack and joked that the moving radio dome is a power move. I'm not a communication specialist, but I can assume that this whole structure is not very healthy. Certainly more useful than getting hit in the face by FPV. I wonder how effective this is. Yeah, I know it's not stupid if it works, but it's clumsy and very noticeable. How effective do you think this unit will be, and how long will he survive on the battlefield? Ukraine officially introduced the Unmanned Systems Force as a separate type of military forces. Since the beginning of the year, we have received confirmation from the General Staff, and now we have an official statement. This war really relies heavily on drones. They have become Ukrainian know-how on the battlefield. We were the first in the world to begin to massively use these cheap and effective methods of combating armored vehicles, fast-moving targets, and enemy personnel, and this industry is developing so damn fast. Drones became the pillar on which our front stood while we had the 6 months shell starvation and our artillery didn't receive enough shells to work effectively. I remember that at the beginning of 2022 in the United States announced the delivery of several hundred Switchblade 300 and Switchblade 600 drones, but I didn't see their mass use, and moreover everyone forgot about them after the Ukrainian military began dropping grenades from commercial DJI drones and then starting using more powerful charges on custom FPVs. Drones are definitely the future of war, and it is here. I remember how in 2019 I was flying my DJI Mavic Pro drone and thinking how cool it was to have such a device in my pocket. You just take it out and in a minute it's already flying at an altitude of 500 meters above you, shooting video in 4K resolution, and you can broadcast it to almost free of charge to the other end of the planet with your smartphone. I can imagine that after this war ends, many laws regarding the use of drones will be reviewed from a national security perspective. We'll see. What do we have here? I missed this part, but someone on the internet noted that we have not seen this drone in public before. Who could it be? Maybe one of those who is named the Ukrainian answer to the Iranian suicide drones. Write it if you know more about it than I do. Ukrainian agents of the Atish group published a video filmed on the coast of occupied Crimea. Here you can see the defensive fortifications that Russians are building on the shore to protect themselves from possible landing operation. This is of course connected with our successes in the Black Sea and with the active destruction of Russian air defense in Crimea. Last year, the head of Ukrainian intelligence Budanov already said that the small sabotage operations that we saw were of course a test before a larger scale operation. This summer, Ukraine will receive F-16 aircrafts, and it's logical to assume that for this we are now destroying the air defense so that an airborne landing in Crimea will be possible and under the cover of aircrafts. The head of security service Maluk says that their actions regarding the Crimean bridge are going according to schedule. We hold our defense quite well throughout the entire country. I would like to have more offensive capabilities, because wars are not won on defense. Let's see what the second half of this year will be like. Yesterday I posted the previous video on YouTube and went out to get some fresh air, opened the app on my phone and found out that a girl I knew had died. Her name was Shura with the call sign Yalta. She was from Crimea. Since 2014 she actively supported the course towards European integration and fought against the corrupt regime of Yanukovych on the Maidan. On February 24, she got enlisted and began serving as a stormtrooper, despite the fact that she was a civil person. She recently transferred to the Air Assault Brigade and celebrated her 40th birthday a week ago. We weren't close friends, but we talked a little online and I photographed her at the International Women's Forum this year. I shot this portrait of hers that day. She dreamed of liberating Crimea and returning to her hometown of Yalta. I think one day we will bring her there. Rest in peace. This was my update about the Russian-Ukrainian war for day number 839. I hope that in some near future I'll make a video where I'll say that this was my update for the first day of victory in this war and there will be no more night attacks, death and destruction, but there will be an endlessly long process of reviving the country from the ashes of war. Thanks to everyone who supports Ukraine. Take care and see you tomorrow.